Today, we're going to be taking a look at a creature called Discus Lord from Castlevania Symphony of the Night, as well as other Castlevania games. Discus Lord is an undead knight with uncanny skill to manipulate the circular blades they wield. Discus Lords are among the most powerful armored zombie variants, considered to perhaps be the perfect evolution of the axe armor. I think I spelled that wrong. These giant zombies are swifter than most give them credit, though those without proper respect for the danger they pose only seem to bear regret in the afterlife, because they're gonna kill you. Making a Discus Lord requires that you have a magical discus or chakram to supply them with as an additional portion of the ritual to create undead. So, much like other armored zombies bound to a special weapon, Discus Lords are linked to their discus, a special chakram made for them. However, the power required to produce the Discus Lord must be channeled through a weapon that is already magical, or the ritual to create them will fail. While performing a create undead ritual, you must also provide a +1 striking returning chakram, or a more powerful chakram, as part of this cost. The chakram is not damaged or lost if the ritual is a failure or critical failure. Some Discus Lords have been known to wield less conventional weapons, such as throwing shields or Feng Huo Lun. I think I said that right. With the latter able to be thrown with as much ease as a chakram, because normally those are not throwable weapons. So we look at the Discus Lord itself. Level 10 creature. It's uncommon, large, and a zombie. Unholy, as per usual with most undead. Has a perception of 21 and dark vision. It speaks common and necral because it is not a mindless zombie. None of these higher level zombies generally are mindless. Nor do they usually have the slow ability that lower level and weaker zombies have. Has athletics, acrobatics, intimidation, and warfare lore as skills. Has a high strength, a decent dex and con, a low intelligence but not negative, a okay wisdom, and a middling charisma. It has its discus as an item, which functions as a +1 striking returning chakram, and full plate, albeit large. So you might be able to move the runes off of this and onto a normal sized weapon for somebody, and still sell the full plate. Its AC is 30, Fortitude is 22, Reflex 20, and Will is +17. It has very high hit points, 230, which are over the hit point range for its level, but like most zombies, this is pretty usual. Mindless zombies that are constantly slowed seem to reflect to have between moderate and high hit points for a creature 2 levels higher than them, whereas intelligent zombies, such as Zombie Lord, have between high and moderate HP for creatures 1 level higher than them. This is reflected here as 230. It still has weaknesses to slashing and vitality, which are quite normal and helps to offset this a bit. It has a reaction ability, Arcing Return. The Discus Lord's discus is returning to it after a thrown strike. Effect, the discus arcs wide, attempting to catch another creature with its blades. The Discus Lord makes another thrown strike against a creature within a 20-foot emanation from its original target. The strike uses the Discus Lord's current multiple attack penalty and increases the penalty as normal after resolving. So this is a bit of action efficiency where it tries to hook you a second time after it's either hit or missed. Unlike the axe armor, this one does not specifically require that the first attack miss. As is one of the things where they're, a better version of the axe armor, effectively. They have a speed of 25 feet, which is a little fast for a zombie, but not crazy fast. And for level 10, that's not particularly fast at all. They have a melee attack of the discus, which has a reach of 10 feet. This is just innate to their reach as a large creature. And thrown 20 feet. It has damage of 2d8 plus 13 slashing, with no special riders. It also has a fist with the same attack damage, the agile trait, and the reach 10 feet trait as well, which does 2d4 plus 13 slashing damage. It's definitely a secondary attack. Meanwhile, the primary use of the discus has a slightly lower chance to hit, but deals just as much damage at a range as the melee attack. Its first primary ability is Backspin Shredder. It requires that it's holding the discus, and it tosses the discus with an inhuman amount of backspin, causing it to dig into the earth and slice its way back to the Lord's grasp. Creatures in a 40-foot line take 98 slashing damage, DC 29 basic reflex, and creatures that critically save also take 1d6 persistent bleed damage. Creatures double any weaknesses or resistances they have to this damage, and it can't use it again for 1d4 rounds. The reason for the doubling of resistances and weaknesses is due to the thematic that it's technically hitting twice. Once on its way forward as it's grinding through the ground and working on reversing its trajectory, and the second time when it actually starts backtracking towards the Lord and cuts again. So most of the time, this is going to be purely good for your party because weakness to slashing amongst player characters is extremely rare. Although situationally, this could be used to good effect with certain spells that inflict weaknesses. But it's, akin to a breath weapon. It's this sort of infrequent, but you can do it AoE damage. So 1d4 round limiters, which means at best, if you're extremely lucky or unlucky, depending on your point of view, every other round is how often it can use this. For a single action with the magical and teleportation traits, it can return the discus to its hand should there be a situation in which it's not already holding it, whether it's been disarmed or simply for whatever reason does not have it on its person. However, this teleportation will fail if the discus is on another plane or in an extra dimensional space, meaning perhaps if you're running this as an over threat enemy or a boss, it might do to try and sneak up and steal its discus if it's been left behind somewhere and shove it into a bag of holding or spacious pouch. It also has propulsive disc, this being based off of an ability from Harmony of Dissonance or Harmony of Despair. I forget what the title is, where it produces a bladed ring from its breastplate and launches it with surprising force at a creature within 20 feet. Attempts a ranged discus strike against the target, dealing an additional 2d8 slashing damage on a success. Counts as 2 attacks and calculating multiple attack penalty, but does not increase the penalty after the strike is resolved. Effectively, this is power attack, but limited to a short-ranged ranged attack. It can't do this with its melee strike, and because its strike with the discus at a range is slightly lower, then this is a little less egregious at a higher range. The final ability is Tethered Swing. The 3-action hit everything around me. They attach a chain to their discus and swing it around wildly. They attack every enemy within range, advancing their multiple attack penalty as normal. However, they are agile during these attacks. So instead of -5, -10, it will be -4, -8 for all subsequent attacks. And this is just sort of a interesting thing I think they could do because they do have sort of like a chain normally in the game attached to it. I thought it would make some sense for it to gain effectively 5 feet of extra reach just due to the chain. And as it's swinging around, it can try and hit everyone. Although its odds are slightly better than it making 3 melee attacks. A party that thinks that they're surrounding it, but just out of reach. Just out of reach allows them to get a little bit of a jump so that they can hit those creatures that were just out of reach before. A nice little edge that will probably only pay off once, well, just once, because then the party will figure out, oh no, they can do that. But a neat sort of epiphany moment of, oh, something here is a little mutable, and it will change their tactics again, either forcing them to close in closer and try and beat it down, or take even further stances away. So, let me know what you think about the Discus Lord. If you want to find this, as well as plenty of other free creatures, many of whom are from Castlevania, but also Pokemon, some original work, and items and other things that I've made for free, check out my Patreon. The link will be in the description below. And check me out most days streaming on Twitch on days that I work, which are Wednesday through Sunday. I will stream generally 11 to 1, except for Sunday, I take off. And then on my day off, which is normally Tuesday, I stream a little bit longer or a little bit later, like today. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you.